Is this your pattern? You get more work, they get more credit. If that feels close to home, stay with me. You do the work, you're fixing the mess, and you keep the team moving. And when the big meeting starts, the eyes skip right past you to someone else. And they give the update because they're seen as the future leader. Now, I coach women in mid and senior roles who are stuck in that very pattern, and there is a shift that changes everything. We're going to break down the visibility gap that hard work alone can't fix, and why your effort is quietly capture return, and why the room doesn't see you as the leader you already know you are. Then I'm going to give you one habit that you could do every week, and it takes 10 minutes. It changes how people are going to talk about you when you're not in the room. No bragging, no fake persona, no selling yourself out either. So later in this video, I'm going to show you the exact script, what's called the Here's What Moves script, that you can use in under 2 minutes every single week. So stay with me for that. I'm going to start with the part that stings. You were told and taught that if you work hard, you stay late and help others, people will notice. And so that's what you did. You became the person who joins the calls early, who holds the team together when they're tired and frustrated, who fixes the presentation at the last minute without a fuss, and who remembers the details that no one else is tracking. And yes, sure, it's worked to a point, because you've become reliable. You've become the person people trust to get it done. And here's the problem with that. Most decision makers don't see the full picture of your work. They mainly see what gets spoken aloud in rooms that they sit in, what they read in short updates, and what other people say about you when you're not there. So your effort is currently living in your calendar and in your head and not in their memory. That gap between what you do and what people can recall about you is the visibility gap. Now, when a senior leader thinks about your project, do they think of your name or your manager's name? In the last month, how many times have you said clearly what you've delivered, not just what you've worked on? And if someone asked your manager, what is their superpower? Do you know what they would say? And if your honest answer is, I'm not sure, or they would say, I work hard, then unfortunately, your return is capped. One of my clients recently told me, they called my project Mark's project in the review. Mark's my manager. I built it. That is what the visibility gap feels like when you live it. So here's the shift. Hard work creates results. Visibility shapes reputation. Leaders get promoted on reputation. Now, that's not to say that hard work doesn't matter. It means no one showed you the one thing you also need to work on. For women, this often gets twisted from what I've seen by you start telling yourself things like, well, I don't want to be political, or I shouldn't have to talk about my work. They can see what I do. Or the worst one, I should be grateful to be even in the room. So you stay quiet, and you hope that fairness will catch up. Let's just be honest. Fairness never catches up. And you're not being ungrateful or political when you take your visibility seriously. You're doing a basic leadership task. You're making it easier for people to identify and see the impact of your work. Hard work gives results. Those results gain visibility. That visibility builds reputation. The reputation gives you the opportunity. In a minute, I'm going to show you how to, sort of a simple way to talk about your work so that it feels honest and not sleazy. First though, we need to name what the visibility gap looks like in daily life, especially for women who already know how to lead. I want you to think of two versions of yourself. Same skills, same workload, same results. Version A, keeps their head down, joins the calls, sends the updates when somebody asks. And when they hear, how's the project going? They say, yep, still on track. Now consider version B, who works exactly the same way behind the scenes, but the difference here is simple. Once a week, this person shares a short, here's what moved, or what I delivered, and why it matters, update to the right person or people. Now, after 6 months, do you think that those two versions of you have the same reputation? No. So the visibility gap is a simple one. It is the space between the impact that you are already having and the story people at the decision table can tell about you without checking the notes. And here's how this often shows up. See if any of this feels familiar. Are you the one who solved the problem, but your manager explained it, so they look like the leader? Did you run a project, but in a big review, it showed up as a bullet point? Did you lead a team through a tough or a rough phase, but in HR talent conversations, you're still seen as the safe pair of hands, not the automatic next in line? Look, I get it. Self-promotion can feel sleazy. You might dislike it, and your brain might tell you the story like, well, I don't want to brag. Or if I start talking about my work and my performance, people will think I'm full of myself. Now, I get it because I used to do the same thing and feel the same way, even though, well, I'm not exactly the most quiet person at work. And so you swing the other way. You say as little as possible, you keep your answers short, and you wait for someone else to notice. But here's the truth. Leaders are busy. They don't have the time to study your calendar. They want a quick mental shortcut so that they can make fast decisions about work and people. Now, right now, your shortcut in their head might be, she's helpful. He gets stuff done. They do whatever we ask. Useful? Yes. Promotable? No. For a lot of women, helpful becomes the box that they get stuck in, not by active choice, but by consequence of action. You become the one they rely on, not the one that they want to promote. To shift that shortcut, by the way, you do not need a new personality. We are not doing fake it till you make it. This is about creating a new habit, a new way to share what's moved, what got delivered, why it matters to the team or the business, and what you're going to focus on next, in a way that feels like a service, not a self-promotion. And this is where it starts to feel different, because you're not saying, look at how amazing I am. You're saying, here's what moved, here's why it matters, and here is where I'm pointing us next. I'm going to give you a word by word or word for word weekly update script that you can use as is. Start this habit this week, even if you feel awkward about talking about yourself right now. So here's the habit. Once a week, I want you to share a short, here's what moved or here's what I delivered, update with the right people. Take 10 minutes, the same time, each week. That's it. Think of it as answering this 3-line update. What's moved, what got delivered, why it matters, and what's next. Now let's walk through this step by step. Step 1, you're going to need to choose your audience. And choose wisely, because this isn't for everyone. For most people, this is going to be either your direct manager, or a project sponsor, or a key partner. Depends on the work. And if your culture is a little bit more casual, this might be a quick note in a chat, or a short slot in your one-to-one. If it's a more formal setup, it could be a brief email or a slide. And you don't need to broadcast this to the entire company. You just need to go to the right people to have a clear, repeated picture of your impact. Step 2, block the time. I want you to pick a time that you know you can keep to. For example, it could be Friday at 3:30 p.m. Title it something like Visibility Check-in. And I want you to protect that slot, like any other meeting. If you prefer that no one sees it in your shared calendar, put it in a private calendar or as a personal reminder. The key is to protect it. Step 3, use the 3-line script. Right? Keep this simple and answer the 3 parts. What moved or what got delivered as a result, why it matters, and what's next. Here's a base script that you can use, and when it appears on the screen through captions, pause it, write it down. Alternatively, look in the notes below. Quick update on project or area. This week we moved specific thing that changed, finished, or improved, and that matters because clear link of revenue, risk, team load, clear impact, or strategy. Next week, I'm focusing on one specific next move. So let me give you a real example, and you can adjust the numbers to sort of suit your situation. Quick update on the client or onboarding process. This week, we cut the average setup time from 10 days to 7 days by fixing the handover between sales and support. That matters because it reduced the number of clients chasing us and gives the team more time for higher value work. Next week, I'm focusing on testing the new checklist with 2 more regions. So here's what's happened with that update. You are naming the movement, not your worth as a person. You are linking it to work and to outcomes that leaders actually care about. And you're pointing to a future like a leader, not a passenger. If you dislike writing about yourself, add a service angle at the end, because this can often help us feel more comfortable with it. Sharing this so you have a clear picture of what is moving and where I'm focusing next. That one line keeps the focus on clarity and alignment, not ego. Now, step 4 is to bring this into meetings. Once you're used to using this weekly update, bring the same structure into meetings. When people ask, how's it going? Don't say, yeah, fine, all on track. Use a short spoken version of what you've just done. This week, the big shift was, what moved? It matters because, why it matters. And next, I'm focusing on what's next. So for example, it could be, this week, the big shift was clearing the backlog of client issues in Region A. It matters because the team there can now focus on the new launch instead of firefighting. Next, I'm focusing on getting Region B to the same point. Are you still honest? Yes. Are you still you? Yes. You're just making it very easy for the room to see the leader who's already been doing the work for a long time. You. And this is the here is what moved habit that I teased at the start. If you do this once a week for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to bet you that you're going to start to notice something interesting. People will start to quote your words back to you. They're going to bring your work into rooms that you're not already in. And you are going to feel clearer and more grounded when someone puts you on the spot. And that's the point. You're training people to link your name to movement, to impact, and to leadership, not just effort. So if you take one thing from this video, I'd really love it to be this. Hard work creates results. Visibility shapes your reputation, and reputation gets you promoted. Your challenge this week is simple. Schedule your first visibility check-in. Use the 3-line script and share it with your manager or your project sponsor, maybe both. I'd then love it if you came back to the video and told me what happened. Did someone maybe respond differently? Did a leader ask a sharper question? Did you feel more like the leader you already know you are? Here's what happened when I started doing it. At first, I'll be honest, I didn't expect anything. I was just tired of being a bit scattered and feeling scattered. So I started doing this process, and what I noticed was not the other people, it was actually me. Because I had a much clearer handle on what was actually going on. I became more honest with myself about what I was actually delivering and what I hadn't. And just by forcing myself to name it, to name what was being moved, what was delivered every week, I felt more in control of my work, calmer walking in on Monday. In meetings, what would normally happen is we go around the room for updates. And in the past, I'd just sit there and wait for my turn and hope I didn't forget something. Once I started this habit, the senior leader who ran the meeting, he would look straight at me when it came to my area, and he knew that I'm going to give a short, accurate answer that everyone in the room can follow. And so the whole room trusted me because I had a clearer view. When I gave the habit to my own team that I was working with, their confidence grew as well. This was quite remarkable because they started speaking like leaders in their own space. They started taking ownership and responsibility. They weren't the people waiting to be rescued. And my clients see the same pattern. Once they share clear, simple updates, the story about them changes. Their names show up in rooms they're not in. They stop being the person who holds everything together and start being the person who moves things forward. It's simple on purpose. And if you keep it simple, you're actually going to do it. And that is where your identity as a leader starts to feel real and not theoretical. And if you're a woman in a mid and senior role and you feel like you've been doing a lot of work but not getting the voice, that's what my 6-month program is for. In that program, we work together on practical visibility, leadership presence, and energy management so that you can lead without burning out. And that link's going to be in the description. and you can see if it fits you with where you are right now. Now, if you want simple scripts like this to protect your energy and to grow your influence at work, that's what my channel's for. So please hit subscribe, hit like, pass a comment, and sure, every week you're going to get clear, practical tools that you can use right away. Maybe share this video with a friend who is doing all the work, but not getting the credit, especially if she's the one everyone relies on.